Welcome to Inquiry into Self. And this is our series, Making the Impossible Possible. So here's an example of where we can put ourselves into a box and things cannot feel possible at all. And that is introversion or extroversion. So a lot of people feel like they're more an introvert or more an extrovert. And by that, I simply mean, I'm not going into lots of big meanings about that. I mean something very simple. Do you look forward to events with a lot of people because at the end you feel more energized? Or do you not look forward to events with a lot of people because at the end you feel drained? Do you look forward to a day or 2 or 3 days all by yourself because you're going to feel more energized? Or do you not look forward to 3 days all by yourself because at the end you're going to feel a little less energized? So the impossible would be that we can equally find ourselves enlivened whichever way life is flowing, whether it turns out to be an extroverted day or an introverted day, more social day, a less social day. And of course, I would say most people have a lot of fluidity. It depends upon the circumstance. It depends upon what you've been doing the past several days. But this sense that our circumstances are so important to our energy level is, obviously there's a contribution to our experience. But the impossible is that we could actually not have any anticipation that one way or the other is going to be better. So in my particular experience, I've been more like an introvert in that I tend to find, or I was finding, that I had more energy at the end of a day by myself and less energy at the end of a day with 80 other people. But I saw that as a box. I was expecting a certain type of experience when I engaged with people. I was expecting that I was going to be attending to all the energy coming from them, all the impact in my body of their energy systems. I was anticipating having to listen to things I didn't want to listen to. I was anticipating having to come up with conversation that didn't really interest me. There was all of this management I was doing because, these were the assumptions I had about how I need to manage social situations. So I looked at it as, okay, let's drop all those assumptions. Every single one of them. I'm going to go into this social situation and there's going to be something here that feels really enlivening and joyful for me. And in fact, I'm going to bring something that feels enlivening and joyful and create this space for that. This was, making the impossible possible. So I went to a party and I started asking everybody that I met, what were they most passionate about? And the conversations got much more interesting. And I started sharing what I was passionate about. And instead of there being, this dull whatever conversation, and instead of me feeling like I had to respond to what other people's energy was bringing, I was bringing my own interest. I was bringing my own energy. I was sharing the things that I was up to. And I was finding out so-and-so loves playing silly games with their grandchildren. And you could see in her eyes, suddenly she just got very playful. And she was talking about a song that they sing together and dancing around. It was adorable. Another person started talking about their gardening. She said, well, I don't know if I'm passionate about this, but this is what I've been doing with my time. And it was cool to feel how she's experimenting and learning. And these are way more interesting conversations. So, and as an extrovert, I've seen people wonder, okay, how am I going to find myself energized after a lot of time alone? And, there's already these projections about what this time alone is going to look like. So what about something totally different? When an extrovert is with people, they're being creative, they're getting feedback, they're finding things unknown happen. Well, how about taking a piece of paper and putting 15 dots on the piece of paper and seeing what can you draw with those 15 dots? Now there's suddenly the unknown. Now there's creative expression. Now there's the opportunity to enjoy something novel about myself as I look at what drawing came up out of this. There's lots of ways to tap into enjoying that life inside of us, whether it's creating some kind of a spontaneous way of stimulating it. Well, it might not be drawing. Maybe it's singing. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's painting. Whatever it is that would stimulate that creativity inside of us, that erupting life. Or whether it's sharing those interests with other people or finding out from other people the part of them that sounds most interesting. Those are just examples. There could be lots of other ways, but fundamentally, the expectation that my future experience is going to be reflected by my past experience puts us back in that box. And whether or not we want a social environment or don't want a social environment is very much living from our past expectation. So making the impossible possible is moving out of that past, doing something different. And even if it flops, we've had this novel experiment, and we can do a different novel experiment next time. And that sense of possibility, that sense of creativity, that sense of discovery allows us to notice we aren't in a box. There is no box that contains the wonder of what you are.